The complete Pali Canon, Samyutta Nikaya, the connected discourses of the Buddha. 10. With Yakas. Piyankara. On one occasion, the Venerable Anuruddha was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Anuruddha, having risen at the first flush of dawn, was reciting stanzas of Dharma. Then the female Yaka, Piyankara's mother, hushed her little child thus. "Do not make a sound, Piyankara. A bhikkhu recites Dharma stanzas. Having understood a Dharma stanza, we might practice for our welfare. Let us refrain from harming living beings. Let us not speak a deliberate lie. We should train ourselves in virtue. Perhaps we'll be freed from the goblin realm." Punabasu. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Now on that occasion, the Blessed One was instructing, exhorting, inspiring and gladdening the bhikkhus with a Dharma talk concerning Nibbana. And those bhikkhus were listening to the Dharma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, applying their whole mind to it. Then the female Yaka, Punabasu's mother, hushed her little children thus. "Be quiet, Uttarika. Be quiet, Punabasu. I wish to listen to the Dharma of the teacher, the Supreme Buddha. When the Blessed One speaks of Nibbana, release from all the knots, there has arisen within me deep affection for this Dharma. In the world one's own son is dear. In the world one's own husband is dear. But for me the quest for this Dharma has become even dearer than them. For neither one's own son nor husband, though dear, can release one from suffering, as listening to true Dharma frees one from the suffering of living beings. In this world steeped in suffering, fettered by aging and death, I wish to listen to the Dharma that he, the Buddha, fully awakened to, for freedom from aging and death. So be quiet, Punabasu." Punabasu. "Mother dear, I am not talking. This Uttara is silent too. Pay attention only to the Dharma, for listening to true Dharma is pleasant. Because we have not known true Dharma, we've been living miserably, Mother. He is the maker of light for bewildered devas and humans, enlightened, bearing his final body. The one with vision teaches the Dharma." Punabasu's mother. "It is good that my son has become so wise. He whom I bore and nursed at my breast, my son loves the pure Dharma of the supremely enlightened one. Punabasu, be happy. Today I have emerged at last. Hear me too, O Uttara. The noble truths are seen." Sudatta. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaya in the cool grove. Now on that occasion, the householder Anathapindika had arrived in Rajagaya on some business. He heard, "A Buddha, it is said, has arisen in the world." He wanted to go and see the Blessed One immediately, but it occurred to him, "It is not the right time to go and see the Blessed One today. I will go and see the Blessed One early tomorrow morning." He lay down with his mindfulness directed to the Buddha, and during the night he got up 3 times, thinking it was morning. Then the householder Anathapindika approached the gate of the charnel ground. Non-human beings opened the gate. Then, as the householder Anathapindika was leaving the city, the light disappeared and darkness appeared. Fear, trepidation, and terror arose in him, and he wanted to turn back. But the Yakasivaka, invisible, made the proclamation. 100,000 elephants, 100,000 horses, 100,000 mule-drawn chariots, 100,000 maidens adorned with jewelry and earrings, are not worth a 16th part of a single step forward. Go forward, householder. Go forward, householder. Going forward is better for you, not turning back again. Then the darkness disappeared, and light appeared to the householder Anathapindika, and the fear, trepidation, and terror that had arisen in him subsided. A second time. Verse 838 is included in this repetition. A third time the light disappeared, and darkness appeared before the householder Anathapindika. Fear, trepidation, and terror arose in him, and he wanted to turn back. But a third time the Yakasivaka, invisible, made the proclamation, 100,000 elephants of a single step forward. Go forward, householder. Go forward, householder. Going forward is better for you, not turning back again. Then the darkness disappeared, and light appeared to the householder Anathapindika, and the fear, trepidation, and terror that had arisen in him subsided. Then the householder Anathapindika approached the Blessed One in the cool grove. Now on that occasion the Blessed One, having risen at the first flush of dawn, was walking back and forth in the open. The Blessed One saw the householder Anathapindika coming in the distance. He descended from the walkway, sat down in the seat that was prepared, and said to the householder Anathapindika, "Come, Sudatta." Then the householder Anathapindika, thinking, "The Blessed One has addressed me by my name," thrilled and elated, prostrated himself right on the spot with his head at the Blessed One's feet, and said to him, "I hope, Venerable Sir, that the Blessed One slept well." The Blessed One: "Always indeed he sleeps well, the Brahmin who is fully quenched, who does not cling to sensual pleasures, cool at heart, without acquisitions. Having cut off all attachments, having removed care from the heart, the peaceful one sleeps well, having attained peace of mind." Sukha. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajgaya in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Now on that occasion the bhikkhuni Sukha, surrounded by a large assembly, was teaching the Dharma. Then a yaka who had full confidence in the bhikkhuni Sukha, going from street to street and from square to square in Rajgaya, on that occasion recited these verses. What has happened to these people in Rajgaya? They sleep as if they've been drinking mead. Why don't they attend on Sukha as she teaches the deathless state? But the wise, as it were, drink it up, that Dharma irresistible, ambrosial, nutritious, as travellers do a cloud. Sukha 2. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajgaya in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Now on that occasion a certain lay follower gave food to the bhikkhuni Sukha. Then a yaka who had full confidence in the bhikkhuni Sukha, going from street to street and from square to square in Rajgaya, on that occasion recited this verse. He has engendered much merit. Wise indeed is this lay follower, who just gave food to Sukha, one released from all the knots. Chira. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajgaya in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Now on that occasion a certain lay follower gave a robe to the bhikkhuni Chira. Then a yaka who had full confidence in the bhikkhuni Chira, going from street to street and from square to square in Rajgaya, on that occasion recited this verse: "He has engendered much merit. Wise indeed is this lay follower, who just gave a robe to Chira, one released from all the bonds." Alavaka. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Alavi, the haunt of the yaka Alavaka. Then the yaka Alavaka approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Get out, ascetic." "All right, friend," the Blessed One said, and he went out. "Come in, ascetic." "All right, friend," the Blessed One said, and he went in. A second time, a third time, the yaka Alavaka said to the Blessed One, "Get out, ascetic." "All right, friend," the Blessed One said, and he went out. "Come in, ascetic." "All right, friend," the Blessed One said, and he went in. A fourth time, the yaka Alavaka said to the Blessed One, "Get out, ascetic." "I won't go out, friend. Do whatever you have to do." "I'll ask you a question, ascetic. If you won't answer me, I'll drive you insane, or I'll split your heart, or I'll grab you by the feet and hurl you across the Ganges." "I do not see anyone in this world, friend, with its devas, Mara and Brahma, in this generation with its ascetics and Brahmins, its devas and humans, who could drive me insane, or split my heart, or grab me by the feet and hurl me across the Ganges. But ask whatever you want, friend." Alavaka. What here is a man's best treasure? What practiced well brings happiness? What is really the sweetest of tastes? How lives the one who they say lives best? The Blessed One. Faith is here a man's best treasure. Dharma practiced well brings happiness. Truth is really the sweetest of tastes. One living by wisdom, they say, lives best. Alavaka. How does one cross over the flood? How does one cross the rugged sea? How does one overcome suffering? How is one purified? The Blessed One. By faith one crosses over the flood, by diligence the rugged sea, by energy one overcomes suffering, by wisdom one is purified. Alavaka. How does one gain wisdom? How does one find wealth? How does one achieve acclaim? How bind friends to oneself? When passing from this world to the next, how does one not sorrow? The Blessed One. Placing faith in the Dharma of the Arahants for the attainment of Nibbana, from desire to learn one gains wisdom, if one is diligent and astute. Doing what is proper, dutiful, one with initiative finds wealth. By truthfulness one wins acclaim. Giving one binds friends. That is how one does not sorrow when passing from this world to the next. The faithful seeker of the household life, in whom dwell these four qualities, truth, dharma, steadfastness, generosity, does not sorrow when he passes on. Come now, ask others as well, the many ascetics and Brahmins, whether there is found here anything better than truth, self-control, generosity and patience. Alavaka. Why now should I ask this question of the many ascetics and Brahmins? Today I have understood the good pertaining to the future life. Indeed, for my sake the Buddha came to reside at Alavi. Today I have understood where a gift bears great fruit. I myself will travel about from village to village, town to town, paying homage to the Enlightened One and to the excellence of the Dharma. Chapter 11. Sakkasamyutta. Connected Discourses with Sakka. The first subchapter, Suvira. Thus have I heard. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove and Anathapindika's Park. There the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, Bhikkhus. Venerable Sir, those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this, Bhikkhus, once in the past the Asuras marched against the Devas. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, addressed Suvira, a young Deva, thus, Dear Suvira, these Asuras are marching against the Devas. Go, dear Suvira, launch a countermarch against the Asuras. Yes, your lordship, Suvira replied, but he became negligent. A second time Sakka addressed Suvira, but a second time Suvira became negligent. A third time Sakka addressed Suvira, but a third time Suvira became negligent. Then, bhikkhus, Sakka addressed Suvira in verse. Where one need not toil and strive, yet still may attain to bliss, go there, Suvira, and take me along with you. That a lazy man who does not toil nor attend to his duties might still have all desires fulfilled, grant me that, Sakka, as a boon. Sakka. Where a lazy man who does not toil might achieve unending bliss, go there, Suvira, and take me along with you. Suvira. The bliss, Supreme Deva, we might find without doing work, O Sakka. The sorrowless state without despair, grant me that, Sakka, as a boon. Sakka. If there exists any place anywhere where without work one won't decline, that is indeed Nibbana's path. Go there, Suvira, and take me along with you. So, bhikkhus, if Sakka, Lord of the Devas, subsisting on the fruit of his own merit, exercising supreme sovereignty and rulership over the Tavatimsa Devas, will be one who speaks in praise of initiative and energy, then how much more would it be fitting here for you, who have gone forth in such a well-expounded Dharma and discipline, to toil, struggle, and strive for the attainment of the as-yet unattained, for the achievement of the as-yet unachieved, for the realization of the as-yet unrealized. Susima. This sutta is identical with the preceding one, except that the young Deva is named Susima. The crest of the standard. At Savatthi. There the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, Bhikkhus. Venerable Sir, those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this, Bhikkhus, once in the past the Devas and the Asuras were arrayed for battle. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, addressed the Tavatimsa Devas thus, Dear Sirs, when the Devas are engaged in battle, if fear or trepidation or terror should arise, on that occasion you should look up at the crest of my standard. For when you look up at the crest of my standard, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. If you cannot look up at the crest of my standard, then you should look up at the crest of the Deva King Pajapati's standard. For when you look up at the crest of his standard, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. If you cannot look up at the crest of the Deva King Pajapati's standard, then you should look up at the crest of the Deva King Varuna's standard. If you cannot look up at the crest of the Deva king Varuna's standard, then you should look up at the crest of the Deva king Isana's standard. For when you look up at the crest of his standard, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. Because for those who look up at the crest of the standard of Sakka, Lord of the Devas, or of Pajapati, the Deva king, or of Varuna, the Deva king, or of Isana, the Deva king, whatever fear or trepidation or terror they may have may or may not be abandoned. For what reason? Because Sakka, Lord of the Devas, is not devoid of lust, not devoid of hatred, not devoid of delusion. He can be timid, petrified, frightened, quick to flee. But bhikkhus, I say this: if you have gone to a forest, or to the foot of a tree, or to an empty hut, and fear or trepidation or terror should arise in you, on that occasion you should recollect me thus. The Blessed One is an arahant, perfectly enlightened, accomplished in true knowledge and conduct, fortunate, knower of the world, unsurpassed leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of devas and humans, the enlightened one, the Blessed One. For when you recollect me, bhikkhus, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. If you cannot recollect me, then you should recollect the Dhamma thus. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise. For when you recollect the Dhamma, bhikkhus, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. If you cannot recollect the Dhamma, then you should recollect the Sangha thus. The Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing the good way, practicing the straight way, practicing the true way, practicing the proper way, that is, the 4 pairs of persons, the 8 types of individuals. This Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. For when you recollect the Sangha, bhikkhus, whatever fear or trepidation or terror you may have will be abandoned. For what reason? Because, bhikkhus, the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, is devoid of lust, devoid of hatred, devoid of delusion. He is brave, courageous, bold, ready to stand his place. This is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Fortunate One, the teacher, further said this: in a forest, at the foot of a tree, or in an empty hut, O bhikkhus, you should recollect the Buddha. No fear will then arise in you. But if you cannot recall the Buddha, best in the world, the bull of men, then you should recall the Dhamma, emancipating, well expounded. But if you cannot recall the Dhamma, emancipating, well expounded, then you should recall the Sangha, the unsurpassed field of merit. For those who thus recall the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, bhikkhus, no fear or trepidation will arise, nor any grisly terror. Vepachiti, or patience. At Savatthi, the Blessed One said this: once in the past, bhikkhus, the Devas and Asuras were arrayed for battle. Then Vepachiti, Lord of the Asuras, addressed the Asuras thus: Dear sirs, in the impending battle between the Devas and the Asuras, if the Asuras win and the Devas are defeated, bind Sakka, Lord of the Devas, by his 4 limbs and neck, and bring him to me in the city of the Asuras." And Sakka, lord of the Devas, addressed the Tavatimsa Devas thus: "Dear sirs, in the impending battle between the Devas and the Asuras, if the Devas win and the Asuras are defeated, bind Vepachiti, lord of the Asuras, by his 4 limbs and neck, and bring him to me in the Sudama assembly hall." In that battle, bhikkhus, the Devas won and the Asuras were defeated. Then the Tavatimsa Devas bound Vepachiti by his 4 limbs and neck and brought him to Sakka in the Sudama assembly hall. When Sakka was entering and leaving the Sudama assembly hall, Vepachiti, bound by his 4 limbs and neck, abused and reviled him with rude, harsh words. Then, bhikkhus, Matali, the charioteer, addressed Sakka, lord of the Devas, in verse: "When face to face with Vepachiti, is it, Maghava, from fear or weakness that you endure him so patiently, listening to his harsh words? It is neither through fear nor weakness that I am patient with Vepachiti. How can a wise person like me engage in combat with a fool?" Matali: "Fools would vent their anger even more if no one would keep them in check. Hence, with drastic punishment, the wise man should restrain the fool. I myself think this alone is the way to check the fool. When one knows one's foe is angry, one mindfully maintains one's peace." Matali: "I see this fault, O Vasava, in practicing patient endurance. When the fool thinks of you thus, he endures me out of fear. The dolt will chase you even more, as a bull does one who flees." Sakka: "Let it be whether or not he thinks, he endures me out of fear. Of goals that culminate in one's own good, none is found better than patience. When a person endowed with strength patiently endures a weakling, they call that the supreme patience. The weakling must be patient always. They call that strength no strength at all, the strength that is the strength of folly. But no one can reproach a person who is strong because guarded by Dharma. One who repays an angry man with anger thereby makes things worse for himself. Not repaying an angry man with anger, one wins a battle hard to win. He practices for the welfare of both, his own and the others, when, knowing that his foe is angry, he mindfully maintains his peace. When he achieves the cure of both, his own and the others, the people who consider him a fool are unskilled in the Dharma. So, bhikkhus, if Sakka, lord of the Devas, subsisting on the fruit of his own merit, exercising supreme sovereignty and rulership over the Tavatimsa Devas, will be one who speaks in praise of patience and gentleness, then how much more would it be fitting here for you, who have gone forth in such a well-expounded Dharma and discipline, to be patient and gentle. Victory by well-spoken counsel. At Savatthi. Bhikkhus, once in the past the Devas and the Asuras were arrayed for battle. Then Vepachiti, lord of the Asuras, said to Sakka, lord of the Devas, "Lord of the Devas, let there be victory by well-spoken counsel." And Sakka replied, "Vepachiti, let there be victory by well-spoken counsel." Then bhikkhus, the Devas, and the Asuras appointed a panel of judges, saying, "These will ascertain what has been well spoken and badly spoken by us." Then Vepachiti, lord of the Asuras, said to Sakka, lord of the Devas, "Speak a verse, lord of the Devas, When this was said, Sakka said to Vepaciti, "You, Vepaciti, bring the senior deva here. Speak a verse." When this was said, Vepaciti, lord of the Asuras, recited this verse. Fools would vent their anger even more if no one would keep them in check. Hence, with drastic punishment, the wise man should restrain the fool. When Bhikkhus Vepaciti, lord of the Asuras, spoke this verse, the Asuras applauded, but the devas were silent. Then Vepaciti said to Sakka, "Speak a verse, lord of the devas." When this was said, Sakka, lord of the devas, recited this verse. I myself think this alone is the way to check the fool. When one knows one's foe is angry, one mindfully maintains one's peace. When Bhikkhus Sakka, lord of the devas, spoke this verse, the devas applauded, but the asuras were silent. Then Sakka said to Vepaciti, "Speak a verse, Vepaciti." When this was said, Vepaciti, lord of the asuras, recited this verse. I see this fault, O Vasava, in practicing patient endurance. When the fool thinks of you thus, he endures me out of fear, the dolt will chase you even more, as a bull does one who flees. When Bhikkhus Vepaciti, lord of the asuras, spoke this verse, the asuras applauded, but the devas were silent. Then Vepaciti said to Sakka, "Speak a verse, lord of the devas." When this was said, Sakka, lord of the devas, recited these verses. Let it be whether or not he thinks. Verses 877 to 82. Are unskilled in the Dharma. When, Bhikkhus, these verses were spoken by Sakka, lord of the devas applauded, but the asuras were silent. Then the panel of judges appointed by the devas and the asuras said this. The verses spoken by Vepaciti, lord of the asuras, are in the sphere of punishment and violence. Hence they entail conflict, contention, and strife. But the verses spoken by Sakka, lord of the devas, are in the sphere of non-punishment and non-violence. Hence they entail freedom from conflict, freedom from contention, and freedom from strife. Sakka, lord of the devas, has won the victory by well-spoken counsel. In this way, Bhikkhus, Sakka, lord of the devas, won the victory by well-spoken counsel. The bird nests. At Savatthi, Bhikkhus, once in the past the devas and the asuras were arrayed for battle. In that battle the asuras won, and the devas were defeated. In defeat the devas withdrew towards the north, while the asuras pursued them. Then Sakka, lord of the devas, addressed his charioteer Matali in verse. Avoid, O Matali, with your chariot pole, the bird nests in the silk cotton woods. Let's surrender our lives to the asuras, rather than make these birds nestless. Yes, your lordship, Matali the charioteer replied, and he turned back the chariot with its team of 1,000 thoroughbreds. Then, Bhikkhus, it occurred to the asuras, now Sakka's chariot with its team of 1,000 thoroughbreds has turned back. The devas will engage in battle with the asuras for a second time. Stricken by fear, they entered the city of the asuras. In this way, Bhikkhus, Sakka, lord of the devas, won a victory by means of righteousness itself. One should not transgress. At Savatthi, Bhikkhus, once in the past when Sakka, lord of the devas, was alone in seclusion, the following reflection arose in his mind. Though someone may be my sworn enemy, I should not transgress even against him. Then Bhikkhus Vepaciti, lord of the Asuras, having known with his own mind the reflection in Sakka's mind, approached Sakka, lord of the Devas. Sakka saw Vepaciti coming in the distance and said to him, "Stop, Vepaciti, you're caught." "Dear sir, do not abandon the idea that just occurred to you. Swear, Vepaciti, that you won't transgress against me." Vepaciti: "Whatever evil comes to a liar, whatever evil to a reviler of noble ones, whatever evil to a betrayer of friends, whatever evil to one without gratitude, that same evil touches the one who transgresses against you, Suja's husband." Vairocana, lord of the Asuras. At Savatthi, in Jeta's grove. Now on that occasion the Blessed One had gone for his day's abiding, and was in seclusion. Then Sakka, lord of the Devas, and Vairocana, lord of the Asuras, approached the Blessed One, and stood one at each doorpost. Then Vairocana, lord of the Asuras, recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. A man should make an effort until his goal has been achieved. Goals shine when achieved. This is the word of Vairocana. Sakka. A man should make an effort until his goal has been achieved. Of goals that shine when achieved, none is found better than patience. Vairocana. All beings are bent on a goal, here or there as fits the case, but for all creatures association is supreme among enjoyments. Goals shine when achieved. This is the word of Vairocana. Sakka. All beings are bent upon a goal, here or there as fits the case, but for all creatures association is supreme among enjoyments. Of goals that shine when achieved, none is found better than patience. Seers in a forest. At Savatthi. Bhikkhus, once in the past a number of seers who were virtuous and of good character had settled down in leaf huts in a tract of forest. Then Sakka, lord of the Devas, and Vepaciti, lord of the Asuras, approached those seers. Vepaciti, lord of the Asuras, put on his boots, bound his sword on tightly, with a parasol borne aloft, entered the hermitage through the main gate. Then, having turned his left side towards them, he walked past those seers who were virtuous and of good character. But Sakka, lord of the Devas, took off his boots, handed over his sword to others, lowered his parasol, and entered the hermitage through an ordinary gate. Then he stood on the lee side, raising his joined hands in reverential salutation, paying homage to those seers who were virtuous and of good character. Then Bhikkhus, those seers addressed Sakka in verse. The odour of the seers, long bound by their vows, emitted from their bodies, goes with the wind. Turn away from here, O thousand-eyed God, for the seer's odour is foul, O Deva King. Sakka. Let the odour of the seers, long bound by their vows, emitted from their bodies, go with the wind. We yearn for this odour, O venerable sirs, as for a garland of flowers on the head. The Devas do not perceive it as repulsive. Seers by the ocean. At Savatthi. Bhikkhus, once in the past a number of seers who were virtuous and of good character had settled down in leaf huts along the shore of the ocean. Now on that occasion the Devas and the Asuras were arrayed for a battle. Then it occurred to those seers who were virtuous and of good character, the devas are righteous, the asuras unrighteous. There may be danger to us from the asuras. Let us approach Sambara, lord of the asuras, and ask him for a guarantee of safety. Then bhikkhus, just as quickly as a strong man might extend his drawn-in arm or draw in his extended arm, those seers who were virtuous and of good character disappeared from their leaf huts along the shore of the ocean and reappeared in the presence of Sambara, lord of the asuras. Then those seers addressed Sambara in verse. The seers who have come to Sambara ask him for a guarantee of safety, for you can give them what you wish, whether it be danger or safety. Sambara: I'll grant no safety to the seers, for they are hated devotees of Sakka. Though you appeal to me for safety, I'll give you only danger. The seers: Though we have asked for safety, you give us only danger. We receive this at your hands. May ceaseless danger come to you. Whatever sort of seed is sown, that is the sort of fruit one reaps. The doer of good reaps good. The doer of evil reaps evil. By you, dear, has the seed been sown. Thus you will experience the fruit. Then bhikkhus, having put a curse on Sambara, lord of the asuras, just as quickly as a strong man might extend his drawn-in arm, or draw in his extended arm, those seers who were virtuous and of good character disappeared from the presence of Sambara and reappeared in their leaf huts on the shore of the ocean. But after being cursed by those seers who were virtuous and of good character, Sambara, lord of the asuras, was gripped by alarm 3 times in the course of the night. The second subchapter, the 7 vows. At Savatthi, bhikkhus, in the past, when Sakka, lord of the devas, was a human being, he adopted and undertook 7 vows, by the undertaking of which he achieved the status of Sakka. What were the 7 vows? As long as I live, may I support my parents. As long as I live, may I respect the family elders. As long as I live, may I speak gently. As long as I live, may I not speak divisively. As long as I live, may I dwell at home with a mind devoid of the stain of stinginess, freely generous, open-handed, delighted in relinquishment, devoted to charity, delighting in giving and sharing. As long as I live, may I speak the truth. As long as I live, may I be free from anger, and if anger should arise in me, may I dispel it quickly. In the past, bhikkhus, when Sakka, lord of the devas, was a human being, he adopted and undertook these 7 vows, by the undertaking of which he achieved the status of Sakka. When a person supports his parents and respects the family elders, when his speech is gentle and courteous, and he refrains from divisive words, when he strives to remove meanness, is truthful, and vanquishes anger, the Tavatimsa devas call him truly a superior person. Sakka's names. At Savatthi in Jeta's Grove. There the Blessed One said to the bhikkhus, Bhikkhus, in the past, when Sakka, lord of the devas, was a human being, he was a Brahmin youth named Magga. Therefore he is called Maggava. Bhikkhus, in the past, when Sakka, lord of the devas, was a human being, he gave gifts in city after city. Therefore he is called Purindara, the urban giver. Bhikkhus, in the past, when Sakka, lord of the devas, was a human being, he gave gifts considerately. Therefore he is called Sakka. Because in the past, when Sakka, Lord of the Devas, was a human being, he gave a rest house. Therefore he is called Vasava. Because Sakka, Lord of the Devas, thinks of 1,000 matters in a moment. Therefore he is called Sahasaka, 1,000-eyed. Because Sakka's wife is the Asura maiden named Suja. Therefore he is called Sujampati, Suja's husband. Because Sakka, Lord of the Devas, exercises supreme sovereignty and rulership over the Tavatimsa Devas. Therefore he is called Lord of the Devas. Because in the past, when Sakka, Lord of the Devas, was a human being, he adopted and undertook 7 vows, by the undertaking of which he achieved the status of Sakka. The remainder of this sutta is identical with the preceding one. Verses 906 to 7, 904 to 5. Mahali. Thus have I heard. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Vesali, in the great wood, in the hall with the peaked roof. Then Mahali, the Lichavi, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side, and said to him, Venerable Sir, has the Blessed One seen Sakka, Lord of the Devas? I have, Mahali. Surely, Venerable Sir, that must have been one who looked like Sakka, Lord of the Devas, for Sakka, Lord of the Devas, is difficult to see. I know Sakka, Mahali, and I know the qualities that make for Sakka, by the undertaking of which Sakka achieved the status of Sakka. In the past, Mahali, when Sakka, Lord of the Devas, was a human being, he was a Brahmin youth named Magga. Therefore he is called Maggava. Here follows the names of Sakka as in 11:12, and the 7 vows as in 11:11, followed by verses 908 to 9, 904 to 5. Poor. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajgaya in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. There the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, Bhikkhus. Venerable Sir, those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this, Bhikkhus, once in the past in this same Rajgaya, there was a poor man, a pauper, an indigent. He undertook faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom in the Dharma and discipline proclaimed by the Tathagata. Having done so, with the breakup of the body, after death, he was reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world, in the company of the Tavatimsa Devas, where he outshone the other Devas in regard to beauty and glory. Thereupon the Tavatimsa Devas found fault with this, grumbled and complained about it, saying, It is wonderful indeed, sir. It is amazing indeed, sir. For formerly, when this young Deva was a human being, he was a poor man, a pauper, an indigent. Yet, with the breakup of the body, after death, he has been reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world, in the company of the Tavatimsa Devas, where he outshines the other Devas in regard to beauty and glory. Then bhikkhus, Sakka, Lord of the Devas, addressed the Tavatimsa Devas thus, Dear sirs, do not find fault with this young Deva. Formerly, when this young Deva was a human being, he undertook faith, virtue, learning, generosity, and wisdom in the Dharma and discipline proclaimed by the Tathagata. Having done so, with the breakup of the body after death, he has been reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly world, in the company of the Tavatimsa Devas, where he outshines the other Devas in regard to beauty and glory. Then bhikkhus instructing the Tavatimsa Devas, Sakka, Lord of the Devas, on that occasion recited these verses. When one has faith in the Tathagata, unshakable and well established, and good conduct built on virtue, dear to the noble ones and praised. When one has confidence in the Sangha, and one's view is straightened out, they say that one isn't poor, one's life is not lived in vain. Therefore the person of intelligence, remembering the Buddha's teaching, should be devoted to faith and virtue, to confidence and vision of the Dharma. A delightful place. At Savatthi, in Jeta's Grove. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, stood to one side, and said to him, "Venerable Sir, what is a delightful place?" The Blessed One: "Shrines in parks and woodland shrines, well-constructed lotus ponds, these are not worth a 16th part of a delightful human being. Whether in a village or forest, in a valley or on the plain, wherever the Arahants dwell, is truly a delightful place." Bestowing alms. On one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajgaya on Mount Vulture Peak. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, and stood to one side. Standing to one side, he addressed the Blessed One in verse. For those people who bestow alms, for living beings in quest of merit, performing merit of the mundane type, where does a gift bear great fruit? The Blessed One: the four practicing the way, and the four established in the fruit. This is the Sangha of upright conduct endowed with wisdom and virtue. For those people who bestow alms for living beings in quest of merit, performing merit of the mundane type, a gift to the Sangha bears great fruit. Veneration of the Buddha. At Savatthi in Jeta's Grove. Now on that occasion the Blessed One had gone for his day's abiding, and was in seclusion. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, and Brahma Sahampati approached the Blessed One, and stood one at each doorpost. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. Rise up, O hero, victor in battle, your burden lowered, debt-free one, wander in the world. Your mind is fully liberated, like the moon on the 15th night. Brahma Sahampati. It is not in such a way that the Tathagatas are to be venerated, Lord of the Devas. The Tathagatas are to be venerated thus. Rise up, O hero, victor in battle, O caravan leader, debt-free one, wander in the world. Teach the Dharma, O Blessed One. There will be those who will understand. The worship of householders, or Sakka's worship. At Savatthi. There the Blessed One said this. Bhikkhus, once in the past, Sakka, Lord of the Devas, addressed his charioteer Matali thus. Harness the chariot with its team of 1,000 thoroughbreds, friend Matali. Let us go to the park grounds to see the beautiful scenery. Yes, your lordship, Matali the charioteer replied. Then he harnessed the chariot with its team of 1,000 thoroughbreds, and announced to Sakka, Lord of the Devas, The chariot has been harnessed, dear sir. You may come at your own convenience. Then bhikkhus, Sakka, Lord of the Devas, descending from the Vajayanta palace, raised his joined hands in reverential salutation, and worshipped the different quarters. Then Matali the charioteer addressed Sakka in verse. These all humbly worship you. those versed in the triple Veda, all the Kshatriyas reigning on earth, the 4 great kings, and the glorious 30. So who, O Sakka, is that spirit to whom you bow in worship? Sakka. These all humbly worship me, those versed in the triple Veda, all the Kshatriyas reigning on earth, the 4 great kings, and the glorious 30. But I worship those endowed with virtue, those long trained in concentration, those who have properly gone forth with the holy life their destination. I worship as well, O Martali, those householders making merit, the lay followers possessed of virtue, who righteously maintain a wife. Martali. Those whom you worship, my Lord Sakka, are indeed the best in the world. I too will worship them, those whom you worship, Vasava. The Blessed One. Having given this explanation, having worshipped the different quarters, the Deva king Magava, Suja's husband, the chief, climbed into his chariot. The worship of the teacher, or Sakka's worship. As above, down to. Then bhikkhus Sakka, Lord of the Devas, descending from the Vajrayanta palace, raised his joined hands in reverential salutation and worshipped the Blessed One. Then Martali, the charioteer, addressed Sakka, Lord of the Devas, in verse. Both devas and human beings humbly worship you, Vasava. So who, O Sakka, is that spirit to whom you bow in worship? Sakka. The perfectly enlightened one here in this world with its devas, the teacher of perfect name, he is the one whom I worship, Martali. Those for whom lust and hatred and ignorance have been expunged, the arahants with taints destroyed, these are the ones whom I worship, Martali. The trainees who delight in dismantling, who diligently pursue the training for the removal of lust and hatred, for transcending ignorance, these are the ones whom I worship, Martali. Martali. Those whom you worship, my Lord Sakka, are indeed the best in the world. I too will worship them, those whom you worship, Vasava. The Blessed One. Having given this explanation, having worshipped the Blessed One, the Deva king Magava, Suja's husband, the chief, climbed into his chariot. The worship of the Sangha, or Sakka's worship. As above, down to. Then bhikkhus Sakka, Lord of the Devas, descending from the Vajrayanta palace, raised his joined hands in reverential salutation and worshipped the Sangha of bhikkhus. Then Martali, the charioteer, addressed Sakka, Lord of the Devas, in verse. It is these that should worship you, the humans stuck in a putrid body, those submerged inside a corpse, afflicted with hunger and thirst. Why then do you envy them, these who dwell homeless, Vasava? Tell us about the seer's conduct. Let us hear what you have to say. Sakka. This is why I envy them, those who dwell homeless, Martali. Whatever village they depart from, they leave it without concern.